What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the video. Welcome to the podcast. Hope you're all doing well. I am Justin Harold, your host, and with me, as always, Jeff Santa, my co-host. This is the Cleveland Pulse podcast, episode 39, and today we're finally going to talk about something other than the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns season obviously being over, but now we can move on to a very successful so far Cleveland Cavaliers podcast episode and talk about how the team's doing right now. There's been quite a lot of things that have progressed for them during the season, some trades, and they're doing pretty well, 9-9, and we gotta start talking about them eventually. So feeling pretty good about them. And Jeff, how are you doing, and how are your thoughts on the Cavs thus far?
Doing good. I'm just looking at their stats on my phone. A little bit weird talking about not the Browns, but we'll get back to them. We're going to put them on the back burner for probably like 1 week, and
Yeah.
that's about it. The Indians or whatever they're going to be this
The
season,
baseball team.
they're a snooze fest. There might be some startling points where we could do our own little episode about them. I guess maybe even moving. I think there's some moving theories to be dove into on that side. We'll leave that for another day. The Cavs, I have no idea what to think about the Cavs. I think they play to their competition somewhat, and they're 9-9, so they're only playing 72 games this year.
Yeah,
So,
and I don't know why, but on Bleacher Report, I know this was the case for the Browns. When I would go to their standings in Bleacher Report, you would see that there's a cutoff for the playoffs, which is 7 in the NFL, which is something that they added this year. But now when I go to look at the standings in Bleacher Report for the Cavs, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, if you have Bleacher Report and can open it up really quickly, it marks off at 10 in the conference for Eastern and Western, which means they added 2 teams to the playoffs. So
unless that's a bubble mark off, wasn't there 20 teams in the bubble last year, or was it there less than that?
maybe, but I would assume that they're going back to regular standards. They're not gonna. They couldn't possibly be doing like another playoff bubble, or they could do like a playoff bubble, but I don't think that they would do the same thing that they did where they brought 20 teams back. 20 teams get to play more games than the other.
The ESPN app only has eight numbers, the 8
Okay,
seeds.
so maybe it's just
must
something
be a
that's
Bleacher Report thing.
Yeah, it must be just like a Bleacher Report thing. But anyways, yeah, I mean the Cavs have been phenomenal. I remember watching the first couple games. They what was it? They were on a 3-game winning streak. They were 3-0. Started off really well. And then, they had some things happen, lost a couple games and all that. But this team is really, like you said, playing up to the standards of other teams, but also kind of something that was talked about with JB Bickerstaff was that his team, which I refer to the Cavs as his team, plays really hard. Like they play really hard and physical and play like a ton better on defense, which was, one of the huge points that before he became coach was a problem for them. Before we get into players, but I just wanted to shout him out really quickly. I think he's done a really nice job with the team that he had and the team that he has now. And moving forward, I hope to continue to see him grow as a coach and be able to kind of coach these guys to a hopeful playoff spot.
Yeah, we do. We actually play defense for. Not a lot of teams play defense in the NBA. I don't know exactly how many points we're giving up a game.
It's got to be close to around beneath 100, which I think is, a pretty solid benchmark for a lot of teams, holding your opponent to 25 points a quarter almost. That's pretty standard.
Let's check.
It's got to be we got to be like a top 10 defense, right?
We're 9-9.
9-9.
That's good. We gave up 141 points to the Celtics. That was.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah. That was the Celtics.
They're not really that good.
Well, they do have a couple of players over there that are kind of balling out.
They're okay.
Unfortunately, Isaac Okoro hasn't developed into that studly defender that everyone was raving about when we drafted him, and we had our little reaction about what we thought about him. But the Celtics are upper echelon Eastern Conference / playoff team. So for that to happen is understandable. But was Jason Tatum out for that game actually? I think he was.
Opponents, oh yeah, it might have been actually.
That's
Opponents point
startling.
per game, we are 7th at 109.
109. All right, a
The
little bit
last 3 we've
higher.
given up 121 though.
Yeah. Well, we went into
Average.
overtime. Well, we went into double overtime with the Nets. Then we gave up 100 and whatever to the Celtics. And then this past game, what did we give up? What was it last night? Was 115 to the Lakers. Or no, I'm sorry. 107 to the Pistons, 115 to the Lakers the nights before. Yeah. So yeah, we've been, for the most part.
For reference, we gave up 114.8 in the 2019 season. So, that's like a couple buckets difference, which could be a huge difference when you're not a premier scoring team in the league. We've won a couple of close games.
True. And I mean, last year the squad's different this year. Not so much so that you can really pinpoint it to one player being added and kind of kicking us, up to this, 500 team that we are now, where last year we were competing for the number 1 pick in the draft. However, if you want to talk about specifics and players right now, the development of Darius Garland and Colin Sexton have both, the nickname that people in the Cavs organization have given him of Sexland. I love it. First of all, it's a fantastic name, which a bunch of analysts gave it out, which was just pretty funny. They made T-shirts and everything, which I thought was really funny and just really good. But Colin Sexton has taken his scoring game to another level. He's a lot more efficient than what he's been in the past and has really come on and takes a lot better shots than he did previously, where, he kind of reminded me a lot of Russell Westbrook at first, where he would take a lot of shots and they would just not fall. But now he's kind of outpacing guys like Russell Westbrook in terms of being an efficient scorer, which I've grown to love, because Darius Garland has grown into what I would call a expert dimer. His passes are very good. I love watching him, facilitate the ball and kind of just find guys open and all that. So, and then you have the rebounding leader in the NBA, which is fantastic to have, Andre Drummond, who, we'll probably talk about him a lot more in a different circumstance that people probably wouldn't. But, those 3 players, along with, what I think is probably one of the healthiest amount of role players on a team in the NBA, just is where we've gotten to 9-9 and how we've gotten to 9-9. And I'm, it's a really young team and it's really good to watch these guys kind of develop and grow. Obviously there's going to be growing pains at times, but I think a lot of that had to be last year. And now 9-9, they look like they're in the area of making the playoffs, and hopefully they continue.
Yeah, and we have, a couple games ago, Larry Nance Jr. was leading the league in steals per game. I don't know if that's still the case now, but I mean, just talk about having some good statistical leaders in their respective categories. I mean, we couldn't ask for much more as far as the team's performance, I guess. Just some disappointing, just overall parts of the organization. That's why it's hard for me to look at it from just from watching individual games, because I just know that we don't have anybody that's taken us to the finals, in my opinion.
That's fair.
And our Kobe Altman has done a below average job so far. There really isn't, for how much we're paying people, there's no justification for it, in the sense where some of them don't even play. Kevin Love doesn't even play. He's had a calf injury he literally played in the preseason. He's had a calf injury for like a month, or
I can't remember the last time that man played
7 or
5
8
games
weeks
in a row.
I want to know how many games he's played since LeBron's left, because I guarantee it's probably like less than 50.
Yeah, I was about to ask you
5 years
over under actual regular season amount of games.
It's been 4 years.
Yeah,
and was he hurt in 2017? He's so disappointing. And honestly, Andre Drummond is not playing good enough for what we're paying him. He's really not. He should be playing even a little bit better, I think, because just the way our cap space is set up, Andre Drummond should be like 30 and 15 for the money he's getting, not 20 and 11.
But what center is 30 and 15?
What centers keep making that much money?
I don't know who's. I mean, it depends on where you like put people. I mean, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid.
He's not even. Yeah, but how many people are actually centers though?
That's like the point I was getting to.
You just named two guys who can make jump shots too. Andre Drummond's dunking or laying the ball up. His post package isn't even that good. It's okay.
I don't know about that, but like, yeah, you do have guys like Joel Embiid who can shoot it, and then you got guys who are 7 foot like Kevin Durant who are just abnormal. So, but
he can't shoot like Embiid, and he doesn't have the interior game like Nikola Jokic. And he's making
Jokic is the only other person that I could probably think of that is a center that actually
Jokic
scores.
Will have like 7 assists a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jokic is that Denver team, so for the most part, but I mean, there's not a lot of like quality centers if you think about it. Like we've said, we've tried to name a few already. There's not a lot of them who are defined as centers. So I think what he does for the team in terms of leading with rebounds, and
he's definitely our best player.
No, Colin Sexton is easily our best player.
He's averaging a double-double. He's our best player.
Yeah, but again, and this is something that I've like getting into the NBA talk now. I've always wanted to get into it. Rebounding in the NBA, and I just made it like a point, like it's a great thing for him to be doing his job. It's not as hard as people make it out to be. If you look at the offensive rebound statistic, then maybe you can really get into something there. But like, is it really like saying something that, you know, a couple years ago, Russell Westbrook won MVP based off him getting multiple triple doubles? Like, look at Russell Westbrook now. The dude has been every time he's been put on a team with an all-star, he's been second rate. He's been the second best player on that team every time. And
yeah, you could just stat pad for them. I don't really think the MVP, I'm going to be honest with you, the MVP hasn't meant anything besides, unless I'm missing somebody, which I could be. So people could roast me if they want, but since the last time LeBron's won it, it hasn't meant anything because LeBron is the most valuable player in the league every year. He's the player that a team needs the most every year.
Yeah, but we all know that that's not what the MVP award like means.
Well, yeah,
that's not even what it means. It's not even what it means in like the NFL. I mean, it kind of is, but like it doesn't really.
It's basically just the best quarterback in the NFL,
right?
Unless
so you're saying the last time LeBron got it. So the last time LeBron got it was in 2012, 2013 when he was with the Heat, which is absurd because there's definitely years when he was on the Cavs, so he deserved it. But then
that's a decade ago.
The year after, Kevin Durant won it, and that was 2013, 2014 Kevin Durant, which was pretty absurd. Then you got Steph Curry, and then one of those was unanimous, which is also disgusting. But anyways, going back to the Cavs, Colin Sexton, the reason why I say Colin Sexton is our best player is because, one, he's the youngest, or he's not the youngest, but he's younger than Drummond, and he's most likely our centerpiece for the next decade. And the dude does everything that he possibly can every night to get us a win. Like, I think Drummond is the one guy that you can see already because of trades that we've made has already seen a significant dip in minutes and importance to this Cavs team.
I'm going to be honest with you. If Colin Sexton shoots 40% from, well, the last 10 games, he's shooting 40.9% from 3-point. If he shoots 40% all year long,
he's shooting above that right now. He's shooting at 47.
From 3? No, I'm talking about from 3-point.
Yeah, from 3-point. He's shooting 47%. I'm looking at it right now.
He's making half of his threes. Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
That ain't going to keep up.
He's 51, 47, and 81.
Is he leading the league in 3-point percentage?
I can go to the NBA stat leaders and look for it. 3-point percentage.
Keeps that up. I'll call him the best player on the team 1,000%.
He's definitely not the 3-point leader. Field goal percentage, team
And he's only shooting
statistics.
81 from free throw. Makes no sense. How are you so dumb? Free throw shooting is such a lost art.
It is. Garland's our best free throw shooter. He's shooting 92%.
That's
That's
pretty good.
crazy.
He hasn't played as much though.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, come on, man. Like, I gotta find out what your beef is with Colin Sexton because he's
Just not someone I'm looking for. Like you just openly said that he's the next decade of the Cavs. That don't sound very good to me. That sounds like we're winning nothing the next decade.
I can get why you say that because he's not in that top 5, top 10 range of players where you're going, he's a guy that can get you to the finals. And the NBA, for as long as I've known it, has never been one of those teams, one of those leagues where you can get to the finals with just a great overall team. Denver was one of those teams where they're like, that's a great overall team. They're not getting past LeBron and the Lakers. Miami has Jimmy Butler, and everything that happened last year with, COVID and the bubble kind of allowed for them to get out of the East. I don't see them coming out of the East, but we could sit here right now and predict the NBA finals because we know what teams are stacked with star power. And it's, I think the easy bet would be the Los Angeles Lakers versus the the Brooklyn Nets, because those teams have the most star power out of anyone. And so, like, the problem with saying that Colin Sexton is the next decade of our team is go to any other team that's not top 5 in the conference and tell me who their star player is and if they're going to be able to get them to the finals.
This is gold. I just found the best website ever.
For
no,
what?
no, that's basically my point. But so I'm Googling plus minus because I'm getting really toxic.
This is Jeff's area of expertise.
A 538 link comes up, so they do election projections. I guess they do NBA players, and so this chart I'm looking at is wins above replacement, which is a baseball thing. Actually, that's what WAR stands for in baseball. Wins above replacement. So Mike Trout has probably the highest WAR in the league because he's just winning a game he plays. The Angels are just that much likely of a chance to win.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good MVP projector.
Okay.
So
where they got Colin Sexton.
This has a win. This is a projection. So it has his numbers. So he was a rookie in 19, right?
Yes.
That's the first.
He was drafted in 19.
He was minus 7.4 in 19. So he lost. I mean, he didn't lose it's hard to explain because it's
I know you tried to explain it to me before.
The graph is technically saying if he wouldn't have played all year, we would have won seven more games at least. So rookie, whatever.
Yeah.
So here's the bright spot. In 2020, he was at negative 0.8. So he actually won us almost 7 more games.
Yeah, 6 to 7 more games
in 2020 than he did in 19.
Okay.
And so far in 21, he's at 0. So if he wouldn't have played all, they're saying, yeah, but it's still, if he would have played it all, they're saying we still would be 9-9. So, and then his projection for the next,
I just don't know that plus minus thing makes sense because
for the next 5 years, the highest is 1.1. And the comparable player, the performance of the top 10 most comparable players, number 1, Zach LaVine, and then number 2 is OJ Mayo.
I just don't understand how that works. I hate numbers when it's that specific to something because I just don't think I can applicably see someone on ESPN going up to a board and be like, this is Colin Sexton's plus minus. If this dude doesn't play in 2020, they're winning 7 more games or whatever it was, 2019.
No lie, not putting on that was my opinion of him before I even saw that graph though. Trust me and Bennett and me and Mike have talked. I literally told Bennett, I was like, I think that if Colin Sexton hasn't played 1 game this year, we're probably still 9-9.
No, because Colin Sexton's the reason we won that double overtime with the Nets.
Yeah, but he's probably a reason we lost a close game.
No,
he was the reason we almost lost that game.
No, if anything, he's the
He
reason.
dribbled the ball off his foot in
He's the
regulation.
majority.
Should have won regulation.
He's the majority of why we have 9-9 right now in terms of our wins.
He hasn't even played in every game though.
He's missed like 2 to 3, I think. Garland's missed more than him.
I think
which is upsetting.
Oh yeah, I think he's missed 5. I think we're 18 and I think he started or he's played 13.
Listen, I don't think it's a bad thing to be able to say you have someone that you would want to keep, and I guess this is me saying that I would want to keep for the next decade because, and for the most part, everyone on Twitter, Jeff.
Yeah, that's your first problem. You agree with most people on Twitter.
I agree. I agree with most analytics on Twitter or followers or whatever they want to call themselves, journalists on the Cavs Twitter about it. But anyways, the problem with the Cavs is the Cavs have always been reliant on having LeBron James. Like even when Kyrie Irving was here, when he was on his own, listen, I love Kyrie. Kyrie was exciting to watch. And maybe Colin Sexton isn't Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving wasn't doing any better than Colin Sexton was his first 3 years.
So false. That's so false.
What do you mean? Our team was like stuck in purgatory of just being a bottom 10 team in the Eastern Conference. Since I swear there's no way that Kyrie ever got us above 30 wins.
Yeah, but then now we're comparing the whole team. Can't do that.
Right. You're right. But like, well, am I even though? I mean, Colin Sexton's first 2 years on the team, I guess like Love was there. But besides that, him and Kyrie both had Tristan Thompson as their running mates for the most part.
When was Kyrie drafted? 13?
Yeah, I want to say so.
14, he scored a 57 against the Spurs.
We're not talking about what his stats were, Jeff.
You just said Kyrie wasn't doing any better than Colin Sexton the first 2 years.
In terms of winning us games. He wasn't winning 30 games.
And I told you that it doesn't matter. Kyrie Irving literally had a Tristan Thompson, who was also the same class as him. That was the second best player. The second best player on this team is Andre
Sexton
Drummond.
For his first 2 years had the same dude as his second best player.
Who?
Tristan. Who else was on our team for the past? All right, Kevin Love. When Kevin Love would like to step on the floor after whatever.
Yeah, how many games did we win? 18. We won 18 games first couple years Kyrie was here.
Listen, man. The thing is, this Cavs team that we have now is definitely better than what we had with Kyrie Irving until LeBron came.
Definitely better as a sophomore. Kyrie
was just a better player.
And 55-point games as a second-year guy.
Listen, man, you're not gonna get me. You're not gonna get me on saying Kyrie Irving is worse or was not better than Colin Sexton. But it's not like our team as a whole was any better when Kyrie was here. The problem with that is you need that one player who rises above, and he's got to be a top 10 to top 5. Because like if you don't have LeBron, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Giannis.
How about this for a hypothetical? You want to go really hypothetical? Let's go like 5 or 6 layers hypothetical.
Okay.
20. What year did LeBron come back the second time?
2015.
15 was his first year. So I guess. Was it the summer?
So, Kyrie must have been like
the summer of 15. LeBron said he was coming back a second time. Yes. Yeah. I can tell you where I was at. I was in the car when I heard the news.
I could also tell you where
I was leaving the Columbus Zoo. So that's a side note. But why do you think LeBron came back to play with Kyrie? Yes or no?
No. I think Kyrie being there was like, all right, good. Like I can come back.
Because we didn't do the trade yet. Did we do the Wiggins trade when LeBron said he was coming back? So that's what I'm saying. So he was coming back for a roster with Kyrie and Tristan Thompson on it, basically.
And a first round, the number 1 pick, and either a trade or Andrew Wiggins. Mm-hmm. But so are you saying that right now, if LeBron was like, all right, my time up here in Los Angeles is done.
No, I'm saying if it was Colin Sexton, say it was Colin Sexton in his second year, is LeBron coming back a second time?
Well, first of all, I think we're getting the Kyrie because there's no way Kyrie had like 3 seasons on the Cavs before LeBron came back.
Yeah, he was drafted in 13. It was LeBron's or it was Kyrie.
Kyrie was always going to come back. Or LeBron was always going to come back. 2011, 2012 was when Kyrie was in the league. He was always going to come back, dude. He was always going to come back.
I don't know, bro. I do not think he was.
I think Kyrie being there and
was the deciding factor. That's why he got so mad when Kyrie. That dude, he literally put his neck out for Kyrie, and Kyrie left. He said nobody. He said we're not trading Kyrie. Just keep him. He'll come to training camp, and then we traded him.
Right. Listen, man. I feel like if you put LeBron on this team now, this team's winning the championship every time.
LeBron now or LeBron 2015 LeBron? Because 2015,
even LeBron now obviously. is still doing phenomenal things. But if we put 2015 LeBron on here for sure. Yeah. But
not LeBron now, I think some team in the West is probably contesting. The Clippers probably beat us in the finals.
It's whatever. But this team, I think this team right now, and let's hear. So I think you text me. You said that you couldn't wait to talk about trading Sexton. Let's talk about or trading Sexton for someone, which I would really love to hear who you have in mind. But
anyone.
Let's talk about the guys that we did get in a trade with the Nets. Jared Allen and Prince. How do you say his name to be?
Orion.
All right, because I always feel like I mispronounce it, but
Torian.
Yeah, so this roster right now with the guys that we got from that Brooklyn trade is set up to be, kind of Denver Nuggets-esque right now, where it's a good team, it's a good roster up and down. You have role players, but Jared Allen is the future, which means Kevin Love and Andre Drummond are both on the block in everyone's mind. What's the realistic probability of us trading either one of those guys for someone that's a role player or a plug-in starter for where those two were?
Don't matter. We don't need a plug-in starter. We clearly have shown we do not need Kevin Love.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you think it's realistic to get anything for Kevin Love?
That doesn't really matter to me. That's not the point. I just do not want to pay him. I literally just do not want to pay him. I want his salary off our books immediately. The Brooklyn trade is the best thing that Kobe Altman's done in
forever.
2 years
since he's been a GM.
We've had him for 3 years. He extended Kevin Love wrong. He took Andre Drummond's contract wrong. The draft picks, I guess, are questionable. He couldn't make it work with KPJ. He's done a lot of very questionable things.
Has KPJ even started playing for Rockets yet?
I don't know, but he
was studly. You won't get me again. You won't get me on saying that dude was bad or anything. But
if he has a clean record,
but to be honest with you, really that's surprising for me to hear you say the KPJ trade is a bad thing, because you're all about trading Odell, and that we won't get into that. But you're all about getting rid of the head cases.
But the Cavs the Cavs have been bad ever since LeBron left. The Cavs have been bad. You don't have anything to lose. You have something to lose, and you got a good team.
That's fair.
But that's what doesn't make any sense to me. They part with KPJ like that, and they want to keep Kevin Love. They want to pay him to be a cheerleader. It's a little backwards.
I got you. So what about Drummond? What do you think the realistic probability of Drummond being on this team all the way to past the deadline is?
Good now. Good that we're 9-9. If we were 3-15, he probably would have been gone already.
Do you think a team out there, a playoff contender team, let's say like Boston or some team that's not in our conference, the Clippers, probably not the Lakers, Portland, that's a good choice.
I'd be calling Portland for everybody. I'd say, hey, we'll take a couple draft picks for Love. We'll take a couple draft picks for Drummond. You guys need somebody over there. You need somebody to guard Anthony Davis or try.
Yeah. And so with that being said, we're both saying that I'm going to say that Drummond is probably going to be here. And so is Kevin Love past the trade deadline. Unfortunate, but true, in my opinion.
Which does us no good. It's like, we might make the playoffs and then get swept, or, it's not.
Make it past round one?
Not down. No. But that's the difference, though. Right. That's why NFL the NFL is so much fun, because you get one game. So, I mean, even if you're the favorite, I don't really think there's any huge favorites for like NFL playoff games. I don't think we're beating any team 4 times out of 7. That's just me.
Yeah,
Maybe if we've matured really well, but I'm just talking about like right now. We beat Brooklyn back to back. The Twitter hype, I'll ignore the Twitter hype. I'll ignore the
I
Colin
agree.
Sexton scores a bunch every game. We need to keep him. The only person that I want on this team for the next 10 years is Jarrett Allen. And that's a hot take.
What are
That's
you?
just the truth.
What are your thoughts on Garland? Because I really love Garland.
Garland, I don't know if I want him for the next decade. He hasn't really played that a whole bunch, though.
That's fair.
And KPJ was someone that I probably would have wanted for the next 10 years. But
So, all right, since Jared Allen's the only person that you want to keep, let's talk about the one player that probably everyone else wants to keep, Colin Sexton. Who do you think realistically you can go out there, engage in trade talks with, and get someone that does as much or somewhat near what Colin Sexton does for this team?
it does it, but that's not the point, though. I don't want to replace him for someone as much. It's just that honestly, though, this is probably the best time to trade him. This is the highest his value's been. Like, same thing with Kevin Love argument. Like, I'm not looking to go replace Kevin Love. I'm actually looking to get free up cap space for us.
Okay, but if you're gonna trade Sexton, who everyone else like Jeff, like you're the only person I know. I guess like Bennett and Mike are the only other people I would know that feel like Sexton is someone that like it's just not worth keeping, or is just
I don't
someone
want
that
to
you
get
should.
fleeced for him, but I just don't think. I think me and you could both agree that there's a very, very slim chance that Colin Sexton is leading us to the NBA Finals. That's like that for a lot of people, but that's what a lot of people don't understand is that teams hold guys that they drafted or that are great or even a little bit above average, and then they do nothing in a decade and it bites them in the ass. Like, you got to be proactive. You got to do something. I know you need time to build, but I mean, this is his 3rd year. Next year is going to be his 4th year.
Let me put it this way. So right now there's a super team with the Nets, which is unfortunate. The team, like I was really down to like with everything that was going on in the NBA last year, because that was the most even playing field every team was on, except LeBron James is still in the NBA, which is the biggest problem for everyone moving forward. Whatever conference you're in, if you're in the West right now, you're in purgatory because LeBron's there. And now in the East, you're in purgatory because the Nets are there.
Not really, though. Let's see. Like, I kind of disagree with that.
With the Nets part or with the LeBron part?
With both, honestly. I mean, I think the Nets are clear-cut on paper the best team in the East. But like, let me give you the Phoenix Suns, for example.
Okay.
They have a on-the-brink superstar, Devin Booker. I don't think he's a superstar yet. He's shown flashes that he could get there, but I don't think he's a top 3, 4, 5. Maybe he's a top 5 player in the game, but I don't think he's a top 5 player in the game. He's probably top 10. Okay. So they have they have young Kelly Oubre, and they played really good last year. They won 10 straight in the bubble. They go this offseason, get rid of some of their younger guys, go get Chris Paul, leader. And that's just another point. Like, you're not competing with a super team, organically building. And sorry, like LeBron was like the only guy that wanted to come to Cleveland. Nobody wants to come to Cleveland unless we're paying them, Andre Drummond.
Or trading for them.
Like, it's kind of, I agree that the Cavs are a team that's in purgatory right now because we're the Cavs. Because we're a Cleveland sports team. It's sad to say because I personally don't believe it.
Who's a realistic person? But so if you're saying trade Colin Sexton right now for someone that's going to get you out of that purgatory, you're going to probably have to package picks or another player, like picks and another player. Who is a top 10 guy that's realistic that you could trade for that would do that for you right now?
I'm just seeing who wants to sell, honestly. I don't have anybody in my mind.
There's only one team that I could probably pitch to you that I would 1,000% believe is selling at this point right now, and is a player that could potentially take this team to that next level, and it's Bradley Beal.
Sure. Bradley Beal.
Washington is down. They traded Westbrook for Westbrook. John Wall is doing good things in Houston. This team's kind of just like they're self-exploding. That's the only team, and that's the only player right now that I think you could realistically go out there and be like, hey, Colin Sexton or Bradley Beal? I'll take Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal also fits the mold of being a shooting guard. Garland is the clear-cut
I'll take
point
Bradley
guard.
Beal, and I'll throw in I'll Sexton and somebody else. Who else do they want? Sexton, Chetty, and picks.
Chetty shoots a little bit too much.
We'd still be in a better position now with Bradley Beal over Sexton, and just for the potential of winning the NBA championship. Bradley Beal could average 40 a night for you. Colin Sexton's averaging 24, 25 a night for you. That's awesome. Like I think he's took large strides as a player, and I'm really proud of him for that. But like you just said, I think there's 2 teams in the league that could probably win the finals right now. It's how the NBA is every year.
Yeah. Well, it is.
At least since Miami formed in whatever year that was, 2013.
Yeah, it is what it is with that. I just don't think adding Bradley Beal gets you out of purgatory like that. So I don't know. I'm hoping that, the organic build pays off in the long run when LeBron James is retired, and hopefully this Nets team somehow explodes and everyone's just, if anything, there's 2 superstars in each team in the, playoffs. That way you have like a fighting chance.
Kobe Altman just has to be proactive. Like, even if it's an off-brand super team, like, you have to go and try to like make your own big 3. You can't just be like, oh, we're gonna draft another LeBron James and then other superstars are gonna fall into our lap. Like, literally be calling around asking for everybody. I'd be calling Washington, hey, who do you want for Bradley Beal? I'd be calling Houston, who do you want for John Wall? Just imagine, like, sure, we give up a bunch of pieces and we have no bench, but that's how most championship teams are put together. They have 1 or 2 good bench players, Andre Iguodala in Golden State and Channing Frye for the Cavs a couple of years ago.
I agree with you, Jeff. I agree with you. I think, honestly, the way I'm watching things happen right now with teams trading their futures away, I agree with you. I would be willing to potentially trade away the future, but I just don't know that that's going to get you in the next 2 to 3 years to the championship, even with the teams that are out there right now. I feel like, it's just almost impossible at this point. And I feel like it's something that you have to wait for unfortunately, I think it's interesting because, you, as a sports fan, you want every team that you root for to win the championship. However, we're now in a very prosperous spot with the Browns where they're very close to being a championship team. And I'm happy that the Cavs are in a, 500 above or at a 500 percentage right now. They're a good team, but now we have the Indians who are or whatever, the Cleveland baseball team, whatever they're called. They're going to self-explode in a moment. I'm glad that we have that tier again, where before it was the Cavs with LeBron back in 2016, the Indians, the Browns. And so I think I know it's not in the right just of mind to be we need to go win the championship right now, because I just don't feel that. I'm happy that they're good, because they were bad last year. They were bad. They were a
I'd rather
team.
have them be bad, though. Me and you've talked about this. I'd rather have a top
Jeff,
5 pick.
There hasn't been a top 5 pick in the last 5 years that has taken,
this
except for Luka, that has really taken their. But Zion hasn't even taken it. I mean, to be fair, he did get bubble, or what's it called? Corona.
This is only his second year.
We'll but see. It's just one of those things right now where it's
you're not going to get a LeBron James. We could both agree on that.
Yes, absolutely. You're not going to get a LeBron James. There hasn't been a LeBron James since LeBron James and Kevin Durant, maybe. So it is what it is. But I mean, this Cavs team, they're fun to watch. They're really fun to watch. I enjoy watching them. I enjoy, every now and then, if I'm not watching the game, checking my phone and seeing that, they're doing pretty well and they're stacking up pretty well. So, but I think that's all we got for this one, Jeff, unless you want to hit one more thing before we close it out.
Nope, that's basically it. I mean, it's kind of slow without the Browns, but we'll get right back into the Browns content.
Yeah, there's draft. There's the Senior Bowl going on right now. I already have a couple guys picked out that I like in the later rounds. There's going to
be a lot of news flowing in.
Yeah, there's also, we could always extend it out into the greater schemes of things and talk about what's going on in the NFL and going on in, major league
Watson
sports.
Officially requesting a trade today.
Listen,
lots of stuff to talk about.
10 to 15 teams right now do not know what they're doing at the quarterback position next year.
And the Browns aren't one of them.
And the Browns aren't one of them.
And the
That's a
Steelers
great
are
thing
one
to
of
say.
them.
Yes, sir, they are.
Maybe.
Well, I hope they know what they're doing. I hope they know they're going with Ben Roethlisberger, because that would make my day. Because Ben just looks doo-doo.
I'm ready for him to leave.
Right. But all right, everyone. Like we said, we'll get back to some more NFL Browns talk later. But thank you all for joining us for this episode. If you could, please, go to our new YouTube channel. Please leave a like, a subscribe, comments, and all that good stuff. Jeff has been, reaching out and been doing his best to, try to get people to watch our videos and everything. And I do appreciate that. I just wanted to let that be known and everything. But we do love making these videos for you. And we do love, just having me and Jeff talk about this stuff constantly, because it is Jeff's pretty fiery dude. He really is. I wish caffeine. I don't know what it is, but man, you get this dude on a phone talking about something and he's all fire. I love it. But, we really do appreciate everything that you guys do for us, and Jeff, that you do for this channel. So without any more to be said, thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.